What's up, guys? Welcome back to the You're Wrong podcast. Sorry we didn't have an episode last week. As you can tell, I'm a little sick. Didn't want to give it to Gavin, so we had to cancel the episode. But we're back. I'm still a little sick, as you can tell by my voice and my tissues that I'll probably be picking at through the whole episode.
Sweet.
But we're back here with episode 22 of the football podcast with Kyle and Gavin. Loaded schedule today to talk about. Wide range of topics. We're basically going to cover and recap the whole 2021 NFL season.
Briefly, of course.
As brief as we can be. It might be a longer episode than normal. But we're going to give our kind of overachievers, underachievers, and some playoff picks for this upcoming wild card round. So without further ado, we'll start and get out of the way. Wouldn't be a football podcast if we didn't mention the college football playoffs. Now,
Bullshit.
I bet Georgia.
I bet Alabama.
He bet Alabama, as he said.
Roll Tide.
Texted me 19 times an hour. Roll Tide, roll Tide, roll Tide.
Jared did too.
Now you can talk. You shouldn't have talked before the game. Now you talk.
Roll Tide. I'm still going to say it. They're going to win tonight in basketball, don't worry.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
As soon as the futures come out for next year, I'm hammering Alabama to win the national
bet.
championship next year.
That's a good bet. I would bet them to win the whole thing next year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, I thought you just said SEC championship.
No, national championship.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to win national championship.
They're going to be gross.
I think they're going to undefeated next year. I don't think they lose a game.
Bryce Young back, Will Anderson back. They're going to be gross.
That seems to be filthy.
But yeah, I had Georgia money line boosted on DraftKings. Shout out DraftKings in New York now.
That's true.
And
Take my money.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Yes, it is.
And then I also had Georgia minus 6.5 alt spread. That's how confident I was. So I tried to talk him into it all day and just told,
I don't believe in Georgia. I didn't believe in Georgia's offense.
Did you see Sweeney's text last night in the group chat?
Yes, I saw it this morning.
Yeah. How happy do you think that made me?
I wanted to go punch him in the face.
I had our boy Sweeney. Sweeney, if you're watching, shout out to you. Texted in the group chat last night, and this is a rough quote, but he goes, "I vividly remember sitting in Kyle's basement the first week of college football, and Kyle said this Georgia team is going to win the national championship." That brought tears to my eyes that someone remembered something like that. Because usually nobody gives me credit.
Weren't they the preseason number one?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, big
I mean, it's not really a hot
winners,
take, but anytime you go against Bama, it's a hot take.
That's fair.
You know, and nobody likes to give me credit, so I'm happy Sweeney finally gave me credit for something.
Sure.
Sure. Anyway, I'm with Gavin. I think Bama next year. I mean, watch out for Auburn. I'm going to tell you right now, watch out for Auburn.
No.
They could land Caleb Williams or Jackson Dart in this transfer portal. Transfer portal, it's nuts.
Yeah, they're going to end up. What's their quarterback's name?
Who?
The current quarterback.
For Auburn?
Yeah.
TJ Finley. He's terrible.
Yeah, he's terrible.
They also just got the Texas A&M transfer in Zach Calzada. He might be even worse.
Yeah.
So I don't. If they don't get If they don't get Caleb Williams or Jackson Dart in, it's gonna be trouble.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, his anxiety is he's tapping his pen. He wants to get right into the NFL. He always rushes me. You always rush me. You know that?
Because I always tap my pen.
No, but like it's a little social cue I pick up on. Whenever you want me to rush, you do something.
No, it's ADD.
You do something fidgety.
I think I have ADD.
So at least I'm getting better on picking up these hints, though.
Sure.
All right, so my voice is starting to hurt. So you talk. Lead us into the coaches that got fired yesterday.
Well, the dumbest one, Brian Flores. Why would it? I mean, obviously, it must have been like more of a personal thing. I feel like because that was a dumb move. I think he's overperformed with the team that he's had. I mean, he hasn't really had a quarterback since he got in there. He turned that defense into in my defense, and well, in his defense, a top tier, especially with the secondary, especially this year. Like, look at they beat the Pats this year. Bullshit. I mean, it's just because Brian Flores knows Bill Belichick and everything that he does.
I think they're definitely.
That's the only dumb one. The other firings, I understand. Zimmer, he's underperformed as a coach in.
Has he?
In Minnesota, I think so.
You know, since he took over the.
Yes, they've gotten better, but they've also had good players.
No, let me finish. Since Mike Zimmer took over in Minnesota, they've had the 10th best record in Mike Zimmer's tenure in all of the league. You can't really complain about that.
You can't, but like when you're not.
I mean, I think it was time for a change too.
Yeah, they haven't progressed. That's a good word. They haven't progressed.
Yeah.
You'd expect them to progress. They kind of leveled off the last 4 seasons.
It's hard to when your quarterback turns into Jared Alvin in prime time.
Very good point.
But I mean, yeah. Keep going.
Nagy, I get that. Joe Judge, I 100% understand that, but I think the Giants need to do way more than just fire their coach.
They fired their GM retired.
Yeah, but they need to rebuild that whole damn team now. Offensive line, quarterback. Saquon Barkley doesn't do a damn thing, and he's hurt half the season, if not more.
Yeah. Well, I think he also had no room to run. I think he's fine. I think everyone's down on him because he had no room to run.
And he had no offensive line, and they know they're not going to throw the ball because Daniel Jones is garbage.
Right.
And so, who's the backup?
Mike
from Georgia.
Glennon and then Jake Fromm.
I like Jake Fromm, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an NFL quarterback. He was a college quarterback, but
he was a good college quarterback.
Well, let's go through these let's go through these one at a time. Joe Judge, like we said, it had to happen. You know, after 2 years, it was kind of Adam Gase-esque.
Yeah.
You know, it's a 3-year contract, but you had to get him the hell out of there.
Yeah, it was not helping the team.
Yeah, it was. I would compare it to Adam Gase.
Cut ties early, get it over with.
Yeah, I don't know who was worse, to be honest. I mean, they're both. As much as I think Adam Gase is the worst coach in history, Joe Judge is up there. I mean, think about it.
I mean,
your
his
first
team
mistake
is
is hiring
terrible.
a special teams coordinator as your head coach. What are you doing?
That's a good point.
Who thinks that's a good idea?
The Giants. Giants front office.
Yeah, so they need to start. By the way, while we're on the Giants, not a really hot take, but opinion take here. I don't think you could pay me any money in the world to take that job. I'd rather take the Jacksonville head coach and GM job over the New York Giants.
I think I would gladly take that job for literally $50.
The Giants?
I mean,
You
if you suck, you
better move
can't
out of
do
New
much
York,
worse. You can't do much worse.
You better move out of New York.
You
'cause
can't
you're
do
gonna
much worse.
Yeah, but the fans are going to hate you.
Who gives a shit? The fans hate you. The fans already hate me. I'm a Patriots fan. I don't get along with any Giants fans.
But I'd rather be the GM in Jacksonville than I would in New York. The Giants actually have nothing to work with in the future.
Oh no, they are atrocious.
They have nothing.
They have nothing.
Like, at least when the Jets started fresh with the head coach and GM, they had draft assets. They had,
Well, they should trade
you can
Saquon.
move.
Dump Saquon.
Who's going to take him?
You could get a first-round pick for
We're not
Saquon
playing
Barkley.
Madden.
You could get a first-round pick for Saquon
Well, you
Barkley.
cannot.
I think you could.
I think in today's day and age, there's about 1 or 2 running backs in this league you get a first-round pick for. With how expendable the running back position
Okay,
is,
you get a
and how
second-round pick for
interchangeable
Saquon. You get easily. You could get a second-round pick then.
Second or third, it depends on the team. You know, I mean, I guess. But like in reality,
I think you just start dumping people. Then if you want to go full rebuild,
oh, you have to. You have to
draft
clear
picks.
so much salary cap. They have no salary cap to work with.
No one wants to play for that team.
No, they don't.
They're atrocious.
So, and then my thoughts on Brian Flores. I'll agree with you. That's a horrible firing. It's his 3rd year. They've gotten better. You know, I mean, granted they started 0-7 this year, but they won their last 7 or
they won
7 of 8 or something like that. So I mean, the team. It's all about how you finish. You know, you've got momentum going into next year. Not his fault. His quarterback stinks and can't stay healthy.
His backup quarterback was better than their starter.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his fault. He's a defensive coach, and
he did well as a defensive coach. Obviously.
Very well,
Around,
and their defense was top half caliber. But I think he got fired because he could not find a steady offensive coordinator that knew what they were doing.
I think he also had issues with front office.
Yeah, I guess he didn't have good relationships, but I mean,
had to have because
relationships over results. I
mean, across the NFL, everyone even said it.
Yeah,
like players were like, "That doesn't make sense."
That doesn't at all. And then the Mike Zimmer firing, I think
that made sense to me.
It makes sense. I think it was probably time.
New system.
Not that he's a bad coach though. He'll be a very good defensive coordinator wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy. Did you mention that one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it.
That's a very intriguing head coaching job. He had to go. I'm surprised he lasted 4 years.
Well, you said you think Flores will go there.
I do think Flores will go there.
I agree with that. That'll be.
We'll get into predictions in a minute. And then Vic Fangio of the Broncos. I hate that firing. Hate it so bad.
Really? I know. I agree with that. The Broncos outperformed.
Yes.
Way more than
another defensive coach who had a very good defensive unit, but had no quarterback. You had Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Luck, dude. Like, what is he supposed to do? You know? And he's not an offensive coach. I get it, but what are you supposed to do when your quarterback is literally me out there?
Russell Wilson to the Broncos.
I didn't mean that. That was a joke.
Russell Wilson to the
comparing
Broncos.
myself to them.
Russell Wilson to the Broncos.
I can see that.
I would like to say Derek Carr, but there's no way he goes and he changes in division.
Well, also, Derek Carr is not a cold weather quarterback. I saw a stat today. I'll get to it later when we talk about Derek Carr.
Whatever. I like Derek Carr.
Anyway, some quick predictions,
Can you
Gavin.
put Derek Carr in any system?
Quick predictions for a couple guys, okay? I'm going to start because I thought about this earlier today.
All right.
A couple head coaching vacancies that I think they'll be filled, and how. I think Jacksonville gets Brian Leftwich.
I think they get
OC for the Bucs.
I think they get Bill O'Brien.
Oh God. I mean, as long as he's a good coach, he's not a good GM. So you got to take his player personnel choosing out of it.
I think Bill O'Brien to that.
Okay.
I'll just challenge all years if I have a thought.
Chicago, Brian Flores, and I say that because you already have an established defense in Chicago. You have a young quarterback who, in my opinion, is probably better than Tua, just hasn't shown it yet.
Yeah.
And you got some building pieces.
I like that one. I'll agree with that.
Okay. Mike Zimmer, not sure where he'll go. I could see him, if Todd Bowles leaves Tampa, I could see him becoming the defensive coordinator in Tampa.
I doubt Todd Bowles leaves Tampa, though.
He's getting requested for a lot of head coaching jobs. He wasn't a bad head coach for the Jets. He just had a very bad roster. Matt Nagy will be like a kicking coach somewhere. Joe Judge will probably be with Adam Gase coaching his high school team. Vic Fangio, another defensive coordinator that I would hire right away.
Yeah, but who would be...
Also, to fill the Miami job, I think Kellen Moore of the Cowboys goes to Miami.
I like that. Well, Kellen Moore was interviewing for the Jaguars job, too.
Yes. I think both those teams, the Jags and the Dolphins, now need an offensive-minded coach with their young quarterbacks and lack of offense. So I think that it could go one of two ways.
I could see Kellen Moore. I could see Kellen Moore going to either team in Florida.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
But who knows? I don't know. I mean, I feel like he'd do a lot better with the Dolphins than the Jaguars because the Jaguars are just...
I think anybody would.
Yeah. Yeah, but how about them Jaguars beating the Colts?
Trevor Lawrence actually looked like the number 1 overall pick.
My dad had that. My dad had that money line.
Really?
Yeah, again, he's
That's
Jaguars
boring.
gonna beat him.
Well, that was a big trend.
Yeah. Well, because the Jaguars have beaten the Colts the last. It was 5 times prior.
I think it was 6 times.
6 times prior, and the Colts had won in Jacksonville since 2014.
Yeah, something like that.
Those stats were crazy.
Yeah, always follow the trends, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so now we'll get into our 2021 NFL season review. So we're going to start with teams that we believed underperformed based off of their preseason hype or just based off of last season's record. So team that underachieved, and kind of when I bring them up, kind of give me...
This is a team we talked about a lot.
But I want you to give me reasons why you think they underachieved, and a lot of them will probably be self-explanatory. But we'll start with the Cleveland Browns.
Record. I mean, obviously, Baker Mayfield underperformed. He was hurt for half the season. I mean, he already went in for surgery last week?
He went into surgery right after week 17.
Right after week 17. Their defense really didn't perform. Myles Garrett and their defense. Myles Garrett played pretty well, obviously, but their defense kind of underperformed. Receivers. Obviously, they traded Odell because Odell is a head case for the team. I mean, we both make that known that we don't really like Odell. We'll talk about Odell later. But overall around, I'd just say the Browns just as a whole collective of a team, they underperformed, especially based off of what Baker Mayfield did. He didn't really do what everyone expected him to, but they picked up his option.
Yeah, well, they had to.
$19 million next year, right? Or $18 million?
Something like that.
But, I mean,
really
might as well test the waters. He was hurt for more than half the season, so we'll see what he gets next year. They need to pick up another receiver, I think.
To touch on your point, Gav, I think, obviously Baker, obviously Odell. I think Kevin Stefanski didn't do as well this year as he did last year at getting the ball into his playmakers' hands. I think he, at times, tried to do a little too much. I think the whole Odell thing, one, not only broke Baker's confidence, because I think Baker seems like a guy who reads the media, and just says, oh, fuck that, I'm going to prove him wrong. He definitely reads the media, so he definitely...
Well, I think everybody does, really.
Yes, but the Odell's father coming out and Odell coming out against Baker really definitely broke his confidence. It went downhill from there. Plus the injuries. Odell leaving, obviously you lose a guy of that talent, in quotes. That's not going to help. Defense was a hot mess. They scored 43 on the Chargers, but gave up 48 and lost. Yeah. That was the end of the season right there, in my opinion. But hey, they're in a good spot moving forward. I think maybe go out and get a playmaker outside as a receiver at some point in this draft. It's a loaded draft class for receivers. Maybe bolster that defense a little bit in free agency. I'm not sure what kind of cap they got.
I don't think they have much.
But if Baker comes back and he's healthy, and take it from somebody who got labrum surgery on their throwing shoulder, he's going to feel a lot better and be a lot more confident. So I think Baker will be back to himself next year, and I think they'll be a little bit better. They have the talent. Gavin, Baltimore Ravens, why did they underperform this year?
Lamar got hurt. And teams started to figure out, like cover zero, like how you brought up multiple times.
Yep.
Teams figured out how to contain him more. They realized that his passing ability isn't what carried him, obviously, his mobility. And he loved overthrowing people. Mm-hmm. Loved overthrowing Mark
In his offense, though, I'd rather a quarterback overthrow a guy than underthrow a guy, because if it's underthrown, it's going to be a pick. If it's overthrown,
I say it's overthrown all the time. It's picked.
Well, but here's what they teach you as a quarterback. They teach you 4 quadrants of a receiver. You want to miss far and outside. You don't want to leave it short and inside.
I know, but he was always thrown over the middle. I was overthrowing the safety.
Right, I mean, but if there's no safety at the top, so he had 16 passing touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But we'll get into Lamar later, a little more. But
their defense got bold. I mean, obviously they lost most of their secondary early on, or throughout, kept getting worse and worse.
Especially at the end of the year.
Yeah, they got fucking tossed the whole season. And
teams threw all over them. Joe Burrow threw for 950.
And that goes back to coaching too, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
but you work against it, try and figure out what works. You don't give.
No, I agree.
Joe Burrow torched him for what, 425 and then 505.
Yes, but at the same time, look at the national championship game last night, for instance. Bama's playing with their 4th and 5th string corners. It's a little hard to overcome, and it would be easier
in the first half. They
Right.
kind of
Right.
fell
But it would
apart.
probably be easier to overcome that in college because your fourth and fifth string are still 5-stars, as to where in the NFL they're maybe undrafted. You know what I mean? So it's a little easier to overcome it in college than it is in the NFL. Clearly, it hurt them. They finished their last 5 games, didn't win a game.
Sure.
But to touch on Gavin's point, I
more or
think,
less Lamar.
I think Lamar severely underperformed. He's gotten worse every year after his MVP season. Julian, Jake, don't get mad at me. It's just the facts. I can pull up the stats if you like. Actually, I'll get to it later. Between that, J.K. Dobbins getting hurt, injuries. They just got bit with the injury bug this year.
Yes,
I still think they're a talented football team. They'll be back in it next year. We're going to throw this one in there. Not sure if they underperformed, but I guess toward the end of the year they did. The Los Angeles Chargers, Gavin.
I think they underperformed. Their defense did not play well this year.
And their new head coach is he's the defensive guy.
I know, and their defense, I think their defense took a step back.
Oh my God, it got worse. They were like a top 10 defense last year, I'm pretty sure. They were bottom 3 this year.
They really took a big step back. I mean, Herbert he was spotty this year.
Yeah.
He had his big games, but then he had those games he had the best throw I think I've ever seen a quarterback in the NFL make. What was that, week 11?
Oh, yeah.
Or 12?
When he's rolling right, sets up and throws back 65 yards on the dot.
I didn't even understand that.
As he gets hit. He's a freak.
Yeah, he is. But he was very inconsistent.
He was, especially in games against the Texans. But I mean, and I'm not making excuses for him. But I mean, second-year quarterback, obviously you're going to have some ups and downs.
Terrible twos.
Unless you're even Pat Mahomes this year had ups and downs.
Well, he just started off rough and he kind of
right. But I'm saying every quarterback has valleys and peaks. Like there were years that Tom Brady had down years for Tom Brady. There's games that Tom Brady's had bad games. Like every quarterback does it. No, I agree. I'm more so speaking because.
I'm just saying.
No, I was more so speaking to Tim Carroll. I know he's not going to watch this, but he texted me when the Chargers were down 2 touchdowns. I don't know if you watched that game against the Raiders.
I watched part of it.
They were down 2 touchdowns. He was blowing up our group chat saying, Herbert's not a winner. Herbert's not a winner because he knows I love Herbert.
I think he just does it to get a rise out of you. You just fall for it every time.
Well, no. See, there's sometimes he does, but there's sometimes he's honest. He's being serious. He just doesn't like players that I like. He doesn't like Joe Burrow or Herbert. Thinks they're both bad. And I don't know how you can say that.
I don't know.
Anywho, enough slander, Tim. If you deserve that if you're watching. But I think, like you said, Gavin hit it right in the head. Defense is the whole reason why.
They played terrible.
Their offense was there when you needed them to be. Look at the Raiders game. Herbert bailed them out on 4th and long 6 times. That was the most crazy last drive I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched a lot of Tom Brady. Justin Herbert converting 4th and 10 3 times in a row I've never seen anything like it.
They kept putting themselves in terrible positions. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Makes no sense.
And I think Brandon Staley, they're a playoff team if he doesn't call that timeout. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Did you know the situation? Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I watched the replay of it. They would not stop talking about it.
They were literally going to run it out and tie the game. And I get what he was doing. He wanted to match the personnel based on the personnel I put on the field, but you did that. You got in your best.
It would have ended in a tie.
Yeah, if you didn't do that. I understand the thought, because you're like, okay, put my best personnel out there to match their personnel. We'll stuff them, tie game.
Imagine how mad Steelers fans would be.
Oh my God!
If that happened,
everyone would be saying it's rigged.
I would have cried. I would have cried laughing.
My problem with Brandon Staley is you're a defensive coach. You came from the Rams. You were a very good defense coordinator with them. You now come to the Chargers. The defense gets worse, and the biggest play of the year, you put your best personnel out there to match the Raiders' personnel, and you give up an 8-yard run. So clearly, your best personnel was not your best personnel. Moving on, Carolina Panthers. This is pretty self-explanatory. But
yeah, I don't really think they underachieved that much. I think they were just expected to be not. Look they picked up Sam Darnold to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, he had a very good first 4 weeks though, and I'll give Sam Darnold this. As bad as Sam Darnold is and as horrible he is as a quarterback, until Christian McCaffrey got hurt, he looked like a capable, very good quarterback.
He definitely did.
Then this Binky McCaffrey got hurt, and then he just went back to the Sam Darnold mold.
Panthers defense showed signs of being good though.
It showed signs of greatness
throughout the season, but they had their woes for sure.
The McCaffrey gets hurt, Darnold becomes Darnold again. You're rotating between Cam Newton and PJ Walker.
McCaffrey's starting to turn into a Saquon type situation.
So yeah, their offense is a shit show. They fired their offensive coordinator halfway through the year. Shit show.
Yep.
They gotta get that offense figured out. Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, Russell Wilson getting hurt is what really put a stop. What, he missed 6 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
That hurt them pretty bad. Obviously, no one really thought they were going to be all of too great. Their defense is atrocious, too. Kyle's favorite defensive player in the NFL.
Jamal Adams?
Yeah.
That man is horrible. I love, can I just say one thing? I love that he cried, I don't want to play for the Jets, they're not winners, goes to Seattle, wins the division his first year, and now they're last place and they're going to start a rebuild. I love it. It's karma.
They got 2 first-round picks for that guy.
Yeah, it's
That's
robbery.
hilarious.
Highway
That's
robbery.
hilarious.
2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and a starting safety.
They got 5 picks for that?
4 picks. No, I think it was only 1 third round. 2 firsts, a third,
Oh,
and a starting safety.
Fair enough.
I
The Jets
think,
won that one. The Jets don't win much, but they won that trade. That's a fact.
Nice little dig right there. I think between injuries to Chris Carson and injuries to the defense, their defense is never good to begin with. Obviously, injury to Russ. Russ never looked the same after he got
Russ
that
will
pin
be
in
on a
his
new
hand.
team next year.
Oh, 100%. He never looked the same after he got that pin in his finger. He was struggling, so it is what it is. I think the Seahawks, Russ leaves and they have to start a rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We'll bite it now.
Yeah, so now we'll talk about teams that overachieved, and I hate to start with this one, but I hate to say it. Gavin, talk about your Patriots. Why did they overachieve?
I mean, rookie quarterback going into the season. I mean, at first everyone thought Cam Newton was going to start still before the season started. Then he had the little COVID debacle, and they cut his ass. I think he wanted to get cut. Whatever, we discussed that already before. But yeah, their defense. Obviously, it went off of what Bill Belichick did in the offseason with all the free agents. I mean, spent the most money any team has ever spent in free agency. Obviously, that goes up with the cap, but yeah, Matthew Judon showed like a second life of being an unbelievable player this year. He led the team with 12 and a half or 13 and a half sacks this year. J.C. Jackson showed up again just like he did last year. He was unbelievable. This year, I think he had 7 or 8 interceptions, and I think the second best for yards allowed per game for any corner, or second best.
Dude, my eyes look terrible.
They do. You look like you smoked a bunch of weed.
Oh my god, my eyes look horrible.
Either way, we'll get back to that.
Wouldn't stop watering yesterday.
Pat's record, obviously, they won the 7 games in a row, but then they started to fall apart the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It's getting a little scary, but we're going to Buffalo this week, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. We'll touch more base on that later.
I gotta give credit where credit's due. Mac Jones played the way he needed to play to put his team in a position to win. Okay, that's first. Also, side note, disclaimer: look at his second half of the year. He stunk. Also threw more picks than Zach Wilson. I like to put that out there.
He played more games than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I get that, but they don't need to know that. They don't need to know that. But he had a bad second half of the year. Anywho, their run game, their offensive line, their 2 running backs were unbelievable. Like Gavin said, spent the most money in free agency history. Obviously, you're going to do pretty well. With Bill Belichick spending that money, you're obviously going to do pretty well. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Defense, top 5 defense in the league, top 3 special teams in the league. Offense as a unit, top 10 in the league. That no one thought they were going to be that. I didn't think their free agent additions would be that impactful. That's the word I was looking for. Yes, but I was wrong. They were very impactful, clearly. And the pieces they got might not be the big names, but they're the pieces that fit the system.
Hunter Henry, Johnny Smith.
Yeah, that's
brought
all you
back
need.
2 tight end system that worked out
That's really all you need is just players that fit the system. I wish the Jets could figure that out, but it's been 40 years, so.
They really don't know their system.
Nope. Philadelphia Eagles overachieving.
I mean, they're in the playoffs.
Making the playoffs.
I mean, that's kind of all we got to say with that, because I don't think they're going to do anything.
I don't either. They're actually the worst playoff team in probably recent memory. And Jake's going to get mad at me for seeing that when he watches this. But, like,
mad.
Jake, look at their schedule, bro. They had the easiest strength of schedule in the league. I think they played, like, 2 teams over 500 the whole year or something like that.
The Cowboys.
Well, I think that counts as 1 team. I think besides that, they played only one other team above 500, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. But, I mean, Bucks are injured, but I think they run them out of the arena.
They're going to run the ball a lot, I think. Leonard Fournette's going to get a lot of carries.
Tennessee Titans, number 1 seed in the AFC.
Oh, yeah. Okay, if they had Derrick Henry, I don't know if we'd be talking about him that much, depending on what their record would be.
What does that mean? If they had Derrick Henry, they'd have a worse record? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
they'd have a better record. No, they'd have, like, the same record, I believe. I mean, I think the record's pretty damn good already. That's why we're saying they're an overachiever. Yeah, but we wouldn't be looking at them like that if they're 12-5 with Derrick Henry, the best running back in the NFL, playing the whole season.
I mean, even if you told me they were fully healthy all year, I don't know if I would have believed they'd be the 1 seed.
It depends. You say at week 4?
Yeah, I mean, it could.
You say at week 4 when we see the Chiefs looking a little iffy?
Yeah,
I can see it. I can go with that.
That's fair.
You tell me week 9 when Derrick Henry's out, I'm saying hell no, they're going to fall apart. They won't even make the playoffs.
That's fair. I think Mike Vrabel needs to be coach of the year. Look at what he did, 12-5 record.
It's him or Belichick.
What? Belichick? No, it's him or Zach Taylor.
Belichick.
It's him or Zach Taylor.
A lot of people are saying Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick.
Nobody's saying Bill Belichick.
He's top 5 in betting for coach of the year right now.
Okay. Top 5 gets you nowhere.
What are you talking about?
Realistically, if you're not top 2, you're out of it. Same thing for MVP and everything.
Debatable. We got a lot of time to go.
Not a time. There's no more games.
It doesn't. They'll look at playoffs.
It's a regular season award.
Yeah, but it doesn't come out till.
I don't know when it comes out, but it's a regular season award.
They do it right before the Super Bowl.
It's still a regular season award.
Yeah, but they still don't. You're acting like they don't take that into account. They don't vote on it until then.
I don't think they do take it into account.
I think they will. Either way.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
While we're on it, Bengals, Zach Taylor, they went from number 1 overall pick last year, picking Joe Burrow, to the playoffs the next year. I haven't seen that happen.
I mean, they would have been.
Long
They would have been decent last year if Joe Burrow didn't tear his ACL in what, week 1, 2?
No, week 6, I think.
It was week 6,
something like that. Week 4, week 6.
I thought it was way earlier than that.
I don't think they were going to be any good last year. Even this year, like, I honestly wanted the Bengals to pick Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase because I'm a lineman. I'm a lineman in the trenches game, but more so I'm lineman over running back than I am wide receiver. It seems like I was wrong. The Bengals obviously made the right pick. I still love Jamar Chase in the draft, but I still didn't think with Jamar Chase I didn't think they were going to be that good. I thought their defense.
I didn't think it would bring them up that much.
Yeah, I thought their defense was going to be terrible. I thought their offensive line was going to be garbage.
If you told me they were going to win their division, I would have told you were crazy.
I would have laughed.
Yeah.
I would have laughed. I wonder what their odds were preseason.
I would have said the Browns or the Ravens. I probably would have said Browns at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, exactly. So severely overachieving. And the last one we'll talk about is the Raiders, your boy Derek Carr.
Hey, Derek Carr overperformed this whole year, carrying his team. He had nothing. I feel bad for that guy.
You know, I want to apologize to Gavin because the very first episode, I laughed at him for saying Derek Carr MVP, and while you were still far off...
The first, 5 episodes.
Okay, no, it was the very first episode.
We can go back. It was the first
It was the one in your house, the very first episode.
But I kept saying it for weeks.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that's where you first brought it up. I do want to apologize to you because while he's not in the MVP race, he clearly has proved that he's a dog.
Yeah.
Because he loses Henry Ruggs, he loses his head coach, and he still fights back and makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
He has nothing. He literally has nothing.
Yes. Now, I would love to see him
on a good team
end up in a situation with, like, Cleveland or something.
Oh, you put him in Cleveland. That's a game changer. Put him anywhere. Put him on the Dolphins. Holy shit. Think how good that team would be.
Put him on the Dolphins, him and Jalen Waddle with Devontae Parker.
And their defense is pretty damn good.
That would be trouble. All right, so now we're going to talk about players, individual players. So we'll get into individual players, and we won't take as long with this segment. Individual players underperformed. Have to start for you, Jules, Jake, and Tim. Have to start with Lamar Jackson. Like we mentioned previously, Gavin, 12 games played, 16 passing touchdowns, 13 picks, only 2,882 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and 3 fumbles.
A lot of picks.
So essentially, he's looking at an 18 to 16 touchdown turnover ratio. That's not ideal.
It's atrocious.
That's what I expect out of like Tua.
Yeah.
Or Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Daniel Jones still had the highest speed reached by a player, by a ball carrier this year.
I know.
That's incredible.
But, and while I mentioned earlier, Gavin, I saw it today on Speak for Yourself. Each year, Lamar's stats have gone down drastically. His yards per carry,
it's figuring him out.
Yards per attempt. Well, that, and I think he's also just struggling. You know, he's regressing a little bit. And his team's gotten better around him. It hasn't gotten worse.
Yeah.
I mean, besides J.K. Dobbins, that's a huge loss. He's playing with,
It's true. I don't know.
Devontae Freeman back there.
I mean, he underperformed. I mean, he also got hurt, but prior to being hurt, look at the numbers. Like Kyle just said, I'll give him that.
Not ideal.
That's a very good point.
Tyler Huntley came in and played pretty damn well.
Tyler Huntley fit that system unbelievably well.
He's better than Lamar. He was Lamar, but better. I'm going to say it.
He's going to be starting for someone next year.
Probably the Ravens.
I don't know about that.
Maybe
the Texans.
If I'm the Ravens, you're picking up his 5th-year option this year. I'm not signing Lamar long term, even after next year, unless he has an MVP year next year. Hell no.
That's fair. I don't know.
A guy who plays that way, who could get hurt, who's regressed every single year since MVP year. Sorry. Thanks to the MVP.
I mean, you got to see how he comes back after the injury. You got to see how he comes back off of that.
Next player, Dom's boy. Dom, if you're watching, your boy Odell.
I hate him.
Odell this year, 27 catches with the Rams, 38 yards per game, and 5 touchdowns.
It's all Baker's fault.
What?
It's all Baker's fault.
That's sarcasm, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I was going to say.
It's all Baker's fault.
Free Odell.
Free Odell, it's all Baker's
Hashtag
fault.
free Odell. Get it trending. Dude runs his way out of Cleveland and then does nothing in L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 touchdowns. What do you play? Like 7 games for LA? 6 games?
7.
That's pretty good.
5 touchdowns, that's good.
But, I mean, you can't just be a red zone target
when you're
Odell.
Other options like Cooper Kupp, you're not being covered by the best receiver.
Well, yeah, that's my issue.
Best corner, sorry.
That's my issue. Is you're number 2, and you're recording 38 yards per game on a high octane passing offense.
I think Scotty Miller gets numbers like that per game.
With a gunslinger, and you're the number 2. Like, Odell is not back, confirmed. Might be back next year. I don't even know. I don't know where he stays. I don't know if he stays with the Rams or where he goes.
Well, it depends. If the Rams don't win, he's probably going to go. He'll probably end up in like Tampa.
Probably.
If Tom Brady takes another year, he'll end up in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then he'll walk out on the team too halfway through.
Another player that underperformed, Baker. We already talked about it. We're not going to talk about Baker. Russell Wilson. We already talked about it. Rookie quarterbacks as a whole. Zach Wilson, obviously. Trevor Lawrence, obviously. Granted, Trevor Lawrence had 0 help. His coach got fired in the middle of the year. His coach was the worst NFL coach.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In a long time, from a dysfunctionality standpoint. Justin
he had
Fields.
No control of that team.
Yeah, Justin Fields struggled. Zach Wilson struggled. Didn't have a lot of weapons. Obviously, got hurt.
Mac Jones and Davis Mills were the real performers.
Davis Mills actually played a lot better than people thought he would.
Well, no one thought he would start.
Davis Mills was a very good high school prospect. He just chose Stanford for some reason.
Wanted an education.
Yeah, apparently. But he actually played pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he starts next year.
Who do you think starts?
I don't know. I wonder if Deshaun Watson can come back. I wonder if they draft him.
I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to get another snap in the NFL.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
That is just
which is a shame.
Well, I mean, it depends.
If he's guilty, it's not a shame. But when I said it was a shame, I meant as a quarterback watching him.
As his talent, yes.
Yes, that's a shame to not watch his talent.
Hopefully, he didn't do what he did, but if he did, he should not be in the NFL.
No, he should not.
Stand by that.
So players overachieved. Derek Carr.
We talked about him enough.
We talked about him, but I want to throw his stats out there. 68% completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, 14 picks, 282 yards per game. 23 touchdowns, a little alarming. It's a little low.
It's low.
I understand why, but it's still a little low.
Didn't have the weapons.
Yeah. Another overachiever, Cooper Kupp, receiving triple crown.
Obviously.
1,947 receiving yards, which is insane. 16 touchdowns, 114 yards per game.
Yeah, that's
for a receiver, that's astronomical.
Yeah.
He kind of got force-fed here and there. Sometimes watching the Rams games, it seemed like their offense struggled because all Stafford did was look for Kupp.
Well, yeah, you can't trust Odell. You can look for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Jamar Chase, yep.
Very much overperformed by anybody said. He's got Rookie of the Year locked up.
He had it locked up week 6, and then for some reason...
Then he dropped off a cliff because he didn't perform as well.
He still
and
had
then he brought it back up. Well, that's when Mac Jones hit his stride and started playing very well.
His stride? That's when Mac Jones played every team under 500 in the NFL. But also, the Patriots, when they went on their win streak, played not the exact same teams, but played
we went over this.
A very similar schedule to the Dolphins when they were on their 7-game win streak.
It was similar.
Very similar.
Three teams were different.
2.
3. I remember we had an argument with it. I looked it all up.
It was 2. It was 2.
3.
But, yeah, Jamar Chase, 1,455 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns, 85 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's a stud. Moving on. Jonathan Taylor, my boy.
Unbelievable season.
Stud.
I mean, obviously, if Derrick Henry was playing the whole season, I don't think we'd really be talking about Jonathan Taylor as much because Derrick Henry would have ran away with those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, look at the pace he was on. It took Jonathan Taylor 3 more weeks to catch up to him in yards.
Yeah, no, I know. I also, as a fantasy owner, I'd be very cautious to draft Jonathan Taylor next year because every team is just going to stack the box and make Carson Wentz throw, and I don't trust Carson Wentz.
Yeah, we definitely have made that note. But Carson Wentz overperformed from what we said. We shit-talked Carson Wentz from the start.
Yeah, he did overperform.
He overperformed from our standpoint.
But then the Carson Wentz that Gavin and I know and love came out against Jacksonville.
Yes, he did.
So who was right in the end? Last game is all that matters.
We were right.
And then last one we'll talk about is Deebo Samuel. Play a little running back. They didn't see that coming this year.
Yeah.
Debo, 1,400 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, 300 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. That's versatility to a team.
He was a
right there.
difference maker for that 49ers team. Without him, I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're not in the playoffs.
No, not even close. And I still want to hold true my Super Bowl prediction. I still think the 49ers can come out of the.
Oh, I
I
don't
think they can come out
doubt
of
that at all.
the NFC. I really do.
The 49ers are a scary team. I wouldn't want to play them.
I wouldn't either. All right, let's get into the games.
All right, we'll start off with the first one on Saturday. We got the Raiders and the Bengals. It's like 4:25 or 4:15 on Saturday. It's 5.5 point spread.
Was 6.5 when it opened.
Yeah, it dropped a little bit.
Sharps are all over.
Hey,
the
I don't sleep on the Raiders.
Yeah, clearly.
You don't sleep on the Raiders. Don't sleep on Derek Carr. But I mean, the Bengals have been absolutely. They're coming off rest because all their starters took a break last week. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, the last 2 games they actually played. How many yards did Jamar Chase have? 250.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yep. Joe Burrow threw for another 400 and 500 yards. Both 10 and 7, but Bengals have home field. Derek Carr can't play in the cold. It's going to be cold in Cincinnati. It's going to be cold everywhere in the Northeast this week. I guess you can call Cincinnati the Northeast. It's a little away, but that you get it. I'm still taking the Bengals. I don't know if they're going to cover the points. I still think the Bengals win.
I think Bengals money line. You throw it in a parlay.
Yeah.
I don't see the Bengals losing. Also, fun statistic I want to throw out there. Let me find it. Keep talking. I got to find a fun statistic about your boy Derek Carr.
What? How he's not good?
Actually, I found it right here. The high Saturday is slated to be 27 degrees. That's the high for the Cincinnati game.
It's going to be windy, too.
Derek Carr, for his career, in games with kickoff temperature 37 degrees or less, 0-5, and has never scored more than 17 points, and only has 1 game out of the 5 with a passer rating over 78. Not a cold weather quarterback. That could fare well for.
So you bet the under.
Bengals.
You bet the damn under.
You bet the under, and you bet Bengals money line.
I like that stat. It's a good stat.
Right? I found it on Twitter today. Very good stat for a better. Very
He got
good.
a lot. 0-5. He's only played it under that temperature that many times.
Think about it. All the teams he plays.
Well, he plays Denver.
Besides Denver, yeah, that's a good point. How many? He goes to Denver once a year. How many years has he been in the league?
5, 6.
So he must. I'm assuming they're all Denver games.
They
goes-
got to be all Denver.
unless he
Well, no,
goes-
because he's played.
He could play Denver in the first couple weeks of the season. when
He's
it's
played
not.
in New England. He played in New England his second year.
Yeah, but it might not be 37 or less.
That's
at the
true.
time.
I mean, it depends on the time. Yeah. Either way.
I think we're both going Bengals.
Oh yeah.
We're going Bengals.
I don't
We're
know
not-
about the points.
Not picking the points.
That's iffy.
Under.
That's a game time decision. Let's see how cold it actually is.
And we're taking the under.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, the Bengals could also go out there and score 40 points on their own that they've proven.
Oh, they 100% can.
But it's going to be cold.
Especially if they can find a way to keep Max Crosby out of the backfield, they could throw all.
But as soon as they get a lead, say they're up by 2 touchdowns, they start running the ball.
No, they could go up 28-3 and run the ball.
Yeah.
And then under will hit. What is the over under, by the way?
I did not get that. But okay, next game, Patriots at the Bills. Bills are a 4-point favorite. That game's going to be atrociously cold. I think the game time temperature's around 16 or 17 right now. Going to keep getting colder, which I think that bodes well for the Pats, obviously, because no one wants to throw the ball in that way you struggle to catch the ball.
Say that again. Say that again and look into the camera. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Look into the camera.
No one
Tim, pay attention. Look into the
no
camera.
team
And say
likes
it
to throw
again.
the ball in the cold. You can't catch the ball in the cold.
Keep going.
Brick hands.
What
brick
team does
ball.
it favor?
Favors the Pats, obviously. Better
Yeah,
running team.
Yeah, you would think it's pretty obvious, right?
Singletary
Tim
is not.
Tim
is
told
not
me today that in the group chat that I'm dumb and don't know what I'm talking about because I said the cold weather favors the Patriots. I didn't say the Patriots will win. I just said it'll favor the Patriots because they're a running team.
Idiot.
It's harder to throw in the cold. It's a lot easier to run because it's harder to tackle in the cold. It's common sense.
It's a fact.
Thank you.
It's a fact.
Sorry.
Why do you think the Pats won the first game in Buffalo?
Oh, well, Tim said it's because there was wind and there's not going to be wind this time. Which that's a point.
Well, that
yeah,
affects it. It was
that's a good
very
point.
windy. That's
a good point, but it's still cold, and you still have to throw and catch the ball in the cold, and you still have to tackle Damian Harris coming downhill in the cold.
And Ramondre Stevenson, who's
And-
been bigger, and I think he might be
Yeah,
bigger.
and the Bills have a terrible run defense as it is.
Yep.
Now you mix in the cold weather, they're not going to want to hit them.
Nope.
Thank you. I'm Kid gets me so
Wow,
mad.
we agreed on something. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a very close game. I mean, obviously I'm a Pats fan. I'm going for the Pats, but it's going to be very, very close. The cold favors the Pats, obviously. That's why I think I got to
Saturday.
Saturday at 8:15. That's why I think I'm going to it. I don't know.
I'm not going to bet this game. I'm going to watch it as a football fan.
Yeah, I'm not betting it either.
Might try to live bet the Bills if they get down early, but I would not. I would not be shocked in the slightest if the Patriots win this game. Would not in the slightest. I think Mac Jones actually, I think he doesn't turn the ball over once, and I think they have a very good chance to win this game. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I think they would. I honestly have a feeling in my gut they win.
They definitely can.
I have a feeling in my gut they beat the Bills.
I just don't like the Bills. All right, next game. We're on to Sunday night. Eagles-Bucks. The Bucks are favored by 8.5. That's pretty obvious. I don't even think we really need to talk about that. Yeah, I think
the Eagles. All they do is run because their quarterback can't throw, and they're facing the #1 run defense in the league.
Yes.
Also, if you want a player prop for the weekend, that's my favorite player prop. Jalen Hurts, get it now over 215 passing yards because they're going to be down big. They're going to have to throw, and the Bucks secondary is atrocious.
Yeah, it is atrocious.
So over 215 passing yards, get it now.
But I could also see them. I don't know. I like that. I don't hate that.
If the run doesn't work, you got to move the ball somehow.
I don't hate that bad. Okay, that's fine. This is the Monday night game. We're just going to jump to Monday night. I don't know why. Cardinals at Rams. Rams are favored by 4.
Is DeAndre Hopkins playing? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Are you sure?
No, I'm not. But I think
I'll check right now. Keep talking. I'll check.
I hate this game. I don't want to bet this game because I don't know. I don't like the Rams. I don't trust the Rams. I like Matthew Stafford, but I don't trust his capability, like especially in a primetime game like this. He hasn't been showing himself to be what everyone thought he was going to be when he came to the Rams. His numbers haven't been terrible, but they haven't been what they should have been.
Who is this?
Matthew Stafford. Having Cooper Kupp and having Odell and all them.
I mean, he lives or dies by risky throws. Like, yeah, he's going to turn the ball over a lot, as you can see by his pick sixes.
Mm-hmm.
But he still threw 40
Rams
touchdowns.
they've been underperforming.
Yeah, as of late.
I mean, no, for a while.
They still won the division.
Yes, they won the division.
That's what I said. They still won the division.
But they've been underperforming.
I can't find DeAndre Hopkins.
Either way, they're playing the Cardinals, who obviously started off the season unbelievable. Then once Kyler Murray got hurt, DeAndre Hopkins was out for a while.
Cliff Kingsbury, not sure if D-Hop returns.
Okay, if D-Hop doesn't play, I think the Rams take it away without a problem.
Same. If D-Hop plays, I think
it's a shootout.
I think they beat the Rams if D-Hop plays because that Rams defense.
I'm not betting
that Rams defense stinks. They stink.
They shouldn't stink, but
they cannot tackle besides Aaron Donald, and besides Jalen Ramsey, they couldn't guard me out there and you. They really couldn't. They stink.
They're not good.
I don't know how a unit with Von Miller, Aaron Donald. I know Von Miller's old. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd. How are you bad? They're like 23rd overall in yards per game or something like that. Probably fact check me on that. It might be like 15th.
Well, because they always go for the big plays,
but
though.
They're ball hawks. I get it, but like, how are you that bad with that kind of names?
I agree. It doesn't make sense to me either. But
like the 49ers marching down the field to win the game was inexcusable.
Jimmy G.
My point exactly. A hurt Jimmy G. Just torched you guys all game.
All right. Yeah, if D-Hop plays, big game changer. I will lean.
It doesn't look like he's
I don't want to bet the game, to be honest with you. I don't care who plays. I don't want to bet the game. Then we got 49ers at the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 3.
Niners money line.
I like the Niners
as well. The counter.
Yeah, give me the Niners too.
It all depends. We've said it all year. It depends on Dak.
Dak Prescott.
We've said it on all year, and I think the Niners. I think they'll put together hopefully a pretty good defensive game plan to get Dak flustered and get in his head. I think they'll do a very good job at exposing Trayvon Diggs for how poor he is in coverage. He might pick the ball off a lot, but he's given up like the most receiving yards all year.
Yes, he has. I don't know why people don't bring that up.
I don't know. It's all media driven.
Yeah.
I think Shanahan uses Debo in the backfield and split out, and I think they absolutely torch Trayvon Diggs and Anthony Brown in the backside. George Kittle will have a monstrous game because those linebackers cannot guard George Kittle.
No one can guard George Kittle.
I'd expect the 49ers to put up 35, 40 points, to be honest with you. I really do. I think they dominate the line of scrimmage. I think they pretty much move the ball at will. That means they'll put up 3 points.
49ers, money line. Forget the spread.
Now that I said all that, they'll put up 3 points.
Now we're screwed. Steelers at Chiefs, 12.5-point spread. That's a Sunday night game.
I'm going to take Chiefs alternate spread minus 20. I understand.
I don't disagree.
This is a typical game where you're like,
disagree.
This is a typical game where you're like, oh my God, they killed the Steelers last game. They're not going to cover this time. It's a huge mismatch, and it's in Kansas City,
and it's playoffs.
Yeah.
And Big Ben, I don't think he gives a shit anymore because he knows he can't win the Super Bowl with that team.
And Najee's definitely not fully healthy after he got hit last week.
Yeah. No.
Who else got hurt? Deontay?
Yes.
Did he come back in the game?
I don't think
even if he did, he's definitely not healthy.
No. Well, who's healthy at this point?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, no, I think the Chiefs absolutely bowl them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think there's anything.
I don't know if it'll even be an entertaining game.
No, I don't think
That's the Monday night game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
Sunday night.
That's
game.
Sunday night. Monday night was Cardinals.
So there's only 2 games on Sunday.
3 games on Sunday.
And 2
Eagles,
on Saturday.
Bucks, 49ers, and Cowboys is the 4:25, and then
Oh, Eagles Bucks is the 1 o'clock.
yes,
Beautiful. I have a flag game at like 2 o'clock. I'll miss that game. Don't even want to watch
Steelers
it.
Chiefs is the night game.
Beautiful. Oh, that's a good slate. Next week's games are going to be fire. I mean, depending on who wins, obviously. But next week's games are going to be pretty.
I
good
mean, that's
games.
usually how it goes. Usually, it just gets better and better.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Like, why do you guys say that?
Well, I mean, it's just a fact.
That's when you
It's
say,
kinda-
yeah, Kyle, I agree.
Yeah, well, I do agree because it's like pyramid scheme, just gonna get better. Once you're at the top, that's the one who makes all.
I feel like shit.
Yeah, you look like shit too.
Oh. Woo. All right. Well, not a bad episode. 46 minutes. We got a lot in.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was gonna be like an hour and a half.
We talk fast.
Well,
I talk fast. He doesn't shut the hell up.
yeah, I like to talk. I think I'm a pretty knowledgeable guy when it comes to this stuff. That's why we have so many viewers, obviously, because that's why we have all 60 viewers, because we are very knowledgeable people
Yeah,
and entertaining.
of course.
Although, if anybody has any idea how we can be a little more entertaining, please throw it out there, because it might be a little dry just hearing us talk and give our opinions, right? Like,
Well, if Jared would be consistent on here too, because
Yeah,
we-
but-
listening to his dumbass talk the whole time, that's pretty funny.
it is. Yeah, it is. It is for sure. We need to be more funny and entertaining. We gotta be more like Barstool if we're going to go anywhere.
If we would drink again, but I don't like drinking beer during the week anymore.
Wow. All those weeks he shit on me for that. Welcome to the club, man.
Well, no, I'll just drink liquor during the week instead.
Okay. I do not do that either. I don't do that. But all right. Thanks for watching. Good luck this week if you're betting. We didn't give our best bets, but you could probably
Because
guess
we
some-
don't have any damn best bets.
Yeah.
Except,
Best bet, Niners money line.
except for the 49ers.
Niners money line. All right. Thanks for watching. Come back next week.